Tackle the Shackles.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tackle the Shackles Out for Life podcast. This is the place where we are solving re-entry problems. Hey, I just believe that we shouldn't have second chances. Yeah, I said it. We shouldn't have second chances. I just believe we should have better chances because some people never had first chances. Hey, welcome, guests. Good to see you. You want to go and invite some people here tonight. You want to hear the testimonies. We are changing the narrative. Amen. Yes, we're changing the narrative, and we really want you to go get the people that need to hear this tonight. Go in social media. It's so easy. You don't even have to call them up. All you have to do is put the link in your messaging, put the link at your Facebook, put the link in your YouTube, or just message somebody on your cell phone and encourage them to come tonight because we got some dynamic guests. But the first one that I must bring up is my co-host, Buddy Curry. Come on up, buddy. What's up,
Hey,
man?
guys. Hey, guys, you know all that grunting and all that stuff, that was me back in the day.
I believe it. I believe you had the other guys grunting. This is a star linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons, Hall of Famer. Just to remind you guys, he is our ambassador for Tackle the Shackles, the lead ambassador. Buddy, it's good to have you. I need your help. Like I said, if my wife called me out of here, I need you to take over now. You know, she called me to go do some ironing or washing some dishes or something like that. You got me, buddy?
Yeah, I got you. You better come up with a better one than that. That's all I got.
Oh, wow. Yeah, buddy, thank you for coming. And we're going to bring you back up in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
And Don is going to give me some music. Don, where's my music, man? You know how that music pumps me up. Come on, man. We need my music. I need some music. There we go. What's up? All right. So now on the first half of our show, I told y'all need to get some people over here now on the first half of our show here at Tackle the Shackles Out for Life podcast. We're going to have my friend, I believe the inventor of the GRIP program. I know he is, the GRIP program. His name, none other, Officer Sergeant Jacob Baird. Come on up, Jacob Baird.
So I'm trying to match your energy level. I don't know if I can.
Hey, you know what? Your smile is enough to match that level, man. In fact, that you are an officer with the Lawrenceville Police Department now and doing great work. I had to have you on today, Jacob, because you know what? You're one of my mentors when it comes to reentry. Thank you so much, man, for coming. And we're going to have you to come back a little bit later on. We're going to share a little testimony interview with you. And we thank you for being a part of Tackle the Shackles.
Thank you for having me, Lee. It's my privilege.
God bless. Well, like I said, we're tackling some shackles. We're solving some problems. And you know what? We're changing the narrative. Some people don't believe that officers can be a part of reentry. Some people don't believe that officers really do care and they really don't want to just lock everybody up. Jacob Baird is one of those people. You want to hear some of the things he has to share and some insights that he's going to give you. And then on the second part of our show, I'm telling you, you do not want to miss my friend, Pastor Lawrence Barbour. Pastor Lawrence Barbour, how you doing, sir?
All right, doing fine.
Well, this man right here has got it going on in Maryland, in DC. He's doing it. He's up there doing some great work. See, this is the power of the internet.
Yeah.
I don't have to fly this dude down, man. We can just get him right now. He's one of our successful returning citizens, and I'm going to introduce him a little bit more in detail. But Pastor Barbour, we're looking forward to hearing your testimony.
All right.
God bless you so much.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Well, again, I want you guys to go get Pookie, Little John, Juju, Boo Boo, Cuckoo, whoever who need to hear a positive message about reentry, prison reentry. Yeah, just positive altogether. Because we only have positive people on here that really want to help people. And so I'm encouraging you to go get them. I'm gonna have the tech guy. I want him to go ahead and kind of let you know what this is all about. I want you to play the Tackle the Shackles video. Let everybody know what we're really trying to do and how we're trying to bring people together. Check it out.
In the U.S., a staggering 2.2 million people are incarcerated, a 500% increase over the past 30 years. 1 in 4 prisoners were foster children. 1 in 28 American children has a parent behind bars. A public defender will routinely have a caseload of more than 100 clients at a time. States spend $2.8 billion annually to incarcerate people for non-criminal rule violations. More than 10% of the incarcerated in the U.S. are veterans, while less than 1% of our citizens serve. More than half are there due to PTSD and substance abuse. Veterans are losing their freedom because of defending ours. Tackle the Shackles, a mega movement to create culture change. Not just inside courtrooms and prisons, but within society. Organizations, activists, and legislators are struggling to pass laws to reform the broken justice and prison systems. This is primarily because the public either doesn't know or doesn't care about the injustices and suffering of those caught up in these systems. The key to success is to make it trendy to be informed and care about our incarcerated citizens. Tackle the Shackles is a national community coalition between athletes, churches, police, service providers, prisons, legislators, and the public to bring about better second chances and reduce recidivism. The coalition also promotes criminal justice and prison reform to ensure fairness in courtrooms, reasonable sentences, and that prison time is rehabilitative instead of punitive. As our country is struggling to find answers to the shackles, issues of inequality, racism, and injustice, it is an ideal and critical time to implement the tackles, real solutions, and reform. Tackle the Shackles is the movement to unify our country and educate about the depth of the criminal justice issues as we reveal and implement solutions. Tackle the Shackles.
We are tackling shackles, and we definitely want you to help us to do that. And thank you for coming, all those who are chatting. Definitely want to put some chat out there and keep your chatting coming. We'd like to hear from you, all those who are subscribing to YouTube as well as subscribing to friending us on Facebook. We appreciate your presence. Thank you for coming. Again, I want to make sure that we deliver the show. We want to bring Buddy back up. Buddy, why don't you come back up, Buddy? Yeah, Buddy, I really appreciate you and co-hosting today. And we got some things that we're getting ready to do at Phillips over there, right?
Oh, absolutely. I guess we finally got access to the prison, and I'm excited about going in and working, rolling my sleeves up and taking my helmet off and let's go to work.
Absolutely. I think you're going to, once they get past the star power of you and they start hearing you talk and minister and hear your heart, I really believe that God's going to use you to minister to those guys in there. I've been in there many years, just serving at Phillips, and I know that they look forward to having guests, especially guests like yourself. Thank you so much for coming. I honor you. I appreciate your presence, and glad that you're part of this team. Um, with that being said, we're going to have Officer Jacob Baird come up, and we're going to interview Jacob Baird to come up, and there he is. All right, Jake.
I'm still here.
You're still here. Yeah, and thank you for your busy schedule and coming and being with us, sir. I know you haven't even got a chance to get undressed. You had to, get to your home and get a shower, man. Thank you for coming on and spending this time, sir. Jacob Baird, first of all, is and I'm just going to give you an introduction from my heart, right? I just know how to do that organically from my heart. I met Jacob Baird some years ago at the Gwinnett jail, and I was just really flabbergasted to see such a kind person that really cared in uniform. I don't think I've ever met anybody in uniform that had such a heart to see returning citizens succeed, and you so much to so that you're the inventor of the GRIP program, Gwinnett Reentry Intervention Program, and this is where Jacob got United Way and some dead funds, really from the confiscation of drug monies and things of that nature. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they pulled that together, right? And
You're pretty close. So I will I'll correct one thing, is I'm not the inventor.
Okay.
It is the brainchild of it was at the time Sheriff Butch Conway.
That's right.
However, he did give me the reins to develop and research, and so what GRIP was, at least until late 2020, was the program that he allowed me to work on and develop and administer, and it was a privilege.
Tell us more about that program, what that program was all about, what you got involved in, what you're doing right now with that type of program.
Okay, so the Gwinnett Reentry Intervention Program was Sheriff Conway's initiative to reduce recidivism at the Gwinnett County Jail. What we did is we started initially a partnership with United Way of Greater Atlanta to address simply homelessness. We found that an incredible number of individuals that were exiting incarceration were homeless. Just simple equation, we thought that maybe if we help get these people access to housing, that we would start to reduce some of that criminal behavior on the back end, help them become more stable. And what I found as we move forward through the development of the program was that homelessness was just a third of the piece. Now there's a lot more pieces, as I just had to boil it down because I'm a cop. I think small pieces.
That's right.
So we discovered that if you can get someone reliable transportation, reliable housing, and reliable income, you can get them to a place where they can start to succeed and get to a place of stability. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you remember Psychology 101.
Absolutely.
That's Jacob Baird's version of Maslow's hierarchy. It's a much more simplified version.
Yeah.
So we ended up from 2012 till late 2020, just prior to me making the transition in Lawrenceville, we had a network of over 80 different organizations that provided everything from housing to transportation, medical care, mental health assistance, employment opportunities, rehabilitation. And then inside the jail, we had therapeutic communities. So
that's right.
Different housing units that specialized. One was for veterans, one was for individuals suffering from substance abuse, and then there was a women's needs pod that focused primarily on trauma-informed practices and things of that nature. Towards the end of my tenure with the sheriff's office, we had pre-incarceration aversion, we had programming in the jail, we had reentry work going on, and it was a really good collaborative effort between the sheriff's office and everyone in the community.
Absolutely.
Currently, what I do is it's still in the restorative justice field. It's not specifically reentry.
Huh. Tell us more about the restorative justice. You mentioned restorative justice. Before you go on and tell us a little bit more about what you're doing at Lawrenceville, can you explain that term a little bit more?
Absolutely. So historically, particularly in the United States, the criminal justice system has been framed by a crime and punishment mentality, right? If a crime occurs, there has to be a punishment of equal value to bring that balance back to the system. Restorative justice is reframing that system in terms of harm and harmony. So that punishment, it's not necessarily a punishment. It's an accountability, right?
Yes.
It could be rehabilitative, whatever that may look like, but it's bringing harmony back to a system, not weighing that crime and punishment. So, whereas, and sometimes I still interact with individuals that are getting released from the jail, and I'll try and connect them to services, but that's not predominantly what I do. Now, my focus with Lawrenceville specifically is the co-responder program.
Gotcha.
So what I do is I work with some clinicians through Viewpoint Health and a case manager, and we respond to calls on the front end. So when people call 911, that call's being evaluated by the dispatcher. They're already getting information. And if there's any indicator that there's a social determinant issue, whether that's homelessness, substance abuse, mental health, family crisis, anything like that, then myself or one of the clinicians will go and we'll handle that call. Because what we're trying to do is look at it not from, all right, a crime has been committed, but more so a lens of why is this crime being committed?
Yes.
And if there's something we can do to try and mitigate that, that's what we want to do.
Yes.
And honestly, that Lawrenceville is a really impressive department. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that just because I work there.
No.
What I've been able to find since working there is really incredible. The officers outside of my little team, which there was just 3 of us, outside of my team, the average arrest rate in Lawrenceville is only 4%.
What?
So out of approximately 40,000 calls for service, only 4 of those end in arrest. So if you take that group, those are going to be crisis-related calls, and you separate that between calls that my team handles and calls that patrol handles, 10% of the calls that patrol handles end in arrest in that subgroup, and less than 1% of the calls that my team handles do. So it just shows some of the things that are going on.
Absolutely.
And I want to touch base, actually, Lee, it may not be earlier during the intro, there was a little bit that I heard, and I know that part of changing the narrative, changing discourse is having opposing opinions, but being able to have those hard conversations.
That's right.
And I want to pose something to everybody watching and everybody listening.
Talk to us.
I personally don't believe the criminal justice system is broken.
It's fixed.
No. It's not good.
Go ahead.
It does exactly what it was designed to do.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely being misused. So it's a misalignment. If you think about calling 911, right? Think about the last time you had to call 911, right?
I think my wife called it on me, I think, one time. No, I'm just joking.
Well, but there is a portion of the population that calls 911 for everything. And that population, from the data that I've been able to find both personally and then through research, that population is historically the marginalized population in the United States. And that's going to be, if you look at the demographics of the populations that predominantly use emergency services, it's people who have not historically had access to education, proper housing, banking systems, healthcare. Those are because you ignore something long enough, and that's why I say I don't think the criminal justice system is broken. It's just catching all the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
So it's being misused. Because you call 911, an officer is going to be the first to respond. But if you ignore, we'll take homelessness, for example. Gwinnett County in particular, housing prices are through the roof. We're experiencing a lot of issues with homelessness. And when you ignore a problem long enough, it becomes an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where people call 911, is when they don't know what else to do. And
Wow.
think about
So-
accessing Social Security or a mental health
Yeah.
organization. That's hard enough for those of us who know how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we had more services out there, or more education, or empowering people so they won't have to need those services. Would you say that's one of the things that we need to tackle? More social services connected to, say, law enforcement and education?
That's my point exactly, is that
Okay.
we have these services in place, but the problem we have, particularly in the United States, is that law enforcement has become the de facto social service provider. Hands down.
Okay.
I do more social work, and I've been an officer for 12 years. Now, I get I'm a little bit of a unique officer, but you talk to any officer, and they will tell you that they do predominantly case management more than law enforcement.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah. Amen. Buddy, jump in there, buddy, if you have any questions or thoughts or input. Feel free.
No, I'm learning. I'm straight up learning curve.
Well,
Yeah.
and one more point, if I may.
Sure.
I'm trying to work myself out of the job. Right? Because an officer should not be linking people to housing, medical care, social services.
Right.
An officer should be there to affect a situation, if it's a crisis, an incident that needs to be addressed, right? That's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
It's inappropriate, and I mean that sincerely. It's inappropriate for an officer to be pushing the social justice reform.
Right.
And that's what's happening in the United States right now.
So is it wrong for an officer to be able to refer somebody to a resource, or when that officer is the first responder and they see the situation, this is not required to lock somebody up. This guy needs housing.
Well, it's not wrong
Okay.
for an officer to refer somebody. When I say that it's inappropriate, I'm
Uh-huh.
saying an officer should have never had to interact with that person.
Gotcha.
Those resources should have been in place all along. Mental health care.
Yeah.
Georgia is the 48th worst provider of mental health in the country.
Uh-huh.
All of the interactions with anybody that has mental health shouldn't be with an officer. It needs to be with a clinician, counselor, case manager. Somebody who's suffering from homelessness. They need to be interacting with a social service provider, not with a cop.
Yeah.
Right. That's my point.
I feel you on that 100%, because officers, they sign up, man, to protect and to serve, and they sign up for. I'm 100 in agreement with you that everybody needs to focus on that, and maybe if we can solve problems before they become problems, being proactive, right, in having those social services in place, and starting early with education, empowering young people and families so they won't have to rely upon social services. Because I have a master's in divinity, right? I have a business computer information system, but I grew up in the ghettos, right? And I can remember carrying a briefcase in the ghettos, right? Going to work and going to school, and people mocked me for that. They, look, what's up, easy? They thought it was all easy. But to go and get your education is not always easy, and it's mocked. And sometimes education, unfortunately, is mocked in certain communities. When we need to change the narrative on that, we need to really be about empowering people with education. But I can, hands down, I know that it was education that got me where I'm at right now today. So we're not talking about me. Here's the thing. This is the thing. But buddy, I know that a lot of people have athletic background like yourself, and they work their way up and they get into sports and they become successful and things of that nature in sports. What is your word to those that out there, that are in sports? That's their ticket. That's their ticket out of the hood. What do you say about that?
Well, you need to use the opportunity you have to play sports to improve yourself, to be able to be a game changer, not only for yourself, but for your family, your community. it's bigger than you, and that's hard coming out of the hood, if you will, when you're just you're used to surviving and you want to survive. So I'm going to get mine and all that. And you see some tough cases of people making tough decisions, but there's some great stories about kids going to choose to go to school to, let's say, Duke or let's say Vanderbilt. And they come out of there and they are so eloquent in how they speak, the network and people that they've met. And then they built a good life for themselves. So, when we think about sports, we think about home runs or touchdowns. What sports builds into people is unshakable. It's incredible. You are really trained to be a high performer, a person of excellence, a person that meets high standards in life. And therefore, what you came from is not as important as kind of who you are, where you're going. And then once you amass the resources, hopefully you can come back and you can help those that and give them a hand up. So that's my situation with sports. I love to hear guys talking about something more than just touchdowns or money or fame and all. I want them to talk about what they can do to help people.
Absolutely. And that's what it's about, helping people. I really believe as officers, and this is just my little opinion, that officers that are there to protect and to serve the community, when they understand, and this is a question for you, Sergeant Baird, officers that are in those communities, if they are able to be in those communities and understand those communities, do you think that's good to have a relationship and build relationship capacity in the communities as an officer?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you go back to, and full disclosure, I'm sure Lee's going to share it, my contact information. If anybody has any follow-up questions of my comments, I'm happy to have more discourse later. But if you go back to,
he's already got it out there.
why law enforcement was created. In 1829, Sir Robert Peel founded the Metropolitan Police Department of London, and he did it because at the time the only recourse that the government had was to use its military against its citizens.
Yeah.
So the two primary reasons, and the first of Robert Peel's tenets, is that law enforcement serves as an alternative to military repression and an alternative to severity of legal punishment. Think about that for a second. It's an alternative to military repression and severity of legal punishment. Right now, particularly in the United States, law enforcement is seen as the justice system, right? We are, for lack of better terms, a lot of people see us as the judge, jury, and executioner. When we make an arrest, it's all said and done. That person's guilty, what have you. But our initial role was to maintain order, bring harmony. And many agencies these days, Lee, you probably remember me saying it 10 years ago, restorative practices are the future of policing. And it really is going that way. Because if you want to look at, however you want to look at it, from fiscal conservative to social justice warrior to it's just right because we're human beings.
That's right.
Restorative justice makes sense at all ends of the spectrum. But officers getting to know their community is super important because you have to be able to meet people where they're at. And oftentimes my badge in itself can be a barrier to communication. So it's incumbent upon me to learn how to communicate effectively to the community. Right. And that's where a lot of those hard conversations happen, that people don't have those conversations. They're not willing to, or it's uncomfortable these days. I'm that guy that'll have that conversation.
Yeah. I know it.
So it's being able to get out there and have that discourse, because just as much as there's a fundamental misunderstanding for some officers in that it's us versus them, there's also a fundamental misunderstanding about what officers do as their day-to-day job.
Yeah.
I've been an officer for 12 years. I've never shot anybody.
Oh, wow.
Like, but people think you've been a cop for 10 years. Oh, you must have a body count. You must have.
Well, that's what this is about. This is why I had you on, right? I need people to see officers like yourself, because we see some of the others and some news stations blow that up, and we all, people think every officer are out to get you, but I had to have you on because you're talking about stuff like restorative justice. People need to look into that more. Restorative justice, what that is all about. That's a very powerful term that I really believe that brings about forgiveness and healing, both to the victim and the perpetrator. Because it's not like, this is your first offense, maybe second, I don't know, but you're young. We're not just going to throw you into the arms of prison. Let us see if we can restore by helping you to, number one, be remorseful about what you've done, held accountable for what you have done, but at the same time, ask for forgiveness to the victim, and hopefully the victim now have a recourse to forgive, because sometimes we don't give them options, right? Yeah, we don't give even the victim an option to have a recourse. They may want to forgive, but the recourse is, let's see them go to prison. Let's see them go to jail. So, yeah, changing that narrative, man. Some of the stuff that you're talking about need to be heard in this audience and around the country. Yeah. So I thank you for, your thoughts and input on that. I'm thinking about the times when Uplift, you remember Uplift? I was working for DCS, Department of Community Supervision, as a community coordinator. And I'm gonna tell you how I came up with Uplift. Uplift was, I was ear hustling, Jacob Bear. They're gonna get me from this. I was ear hustling. I was ear hustling. My office, you've seen those offices there. They're real close together. And I heard one of the officers saying, just doing their job. Hey, listen, if you don't get here, I'm gonna lock you up if you do not get to this office. This is in Gwinnett, where there's no public transportation system. If you don't get here, you can get everywhere else. You can get to the movies, you can get to your girlfriend's house, you can get to everywhere else, but you can't come to see this appointment. And I was ear hustling, and I said, oh man, what can we do, buddy? I was like, what can we do about this? And God put Uplift in my heart. And I'm like, okay, that really helped me out. I think that dude needs an uplift, and then I thought about Uber plus Lyft. And this is when we started this coming up, and Jacob was working at Grip, and I understand that they were getting out early in the morning, right? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever. They don't care what time they want to get. They just getting out. They want to get out. They've done their time. They're ready to get out. And Jacob brought on Uplift to the department and sold that idea of using Uplift as a transportation system to get people from the jail to their home, so they won't have to walk that dangerous street out there. And Jacob, thank you so much for implementing that in the GRIP program. You kind of got us started. And Don is really shaking his head back there, because he had to stay up all night waiting for the call.
I remember talking to Don at like 6 in the morning. Why are you calling me?
Yeah, the dude didn't get any sleep, and he's still doing it today.
That's his fault.
That's his fault.
He volunteered for that.
That's right. He deserved every bit of it. He can't come on and defend himself. Stay there, Don. He's our sound man. But yeah, Jacob, thank you so much for coming on and taking out your busy schedule. Appreciate what you're doing. So this is how they can get in touch with you, right? Through the email. You have any questions, thoughts? He's in the Lawrenceville area doing great work. Buddy, you have anything else you want to?
Jacob, we just honor what you stand for, what you do, your message, and thanks for making a difference, brother.
Thanks for having me on. It was absolutely my privilege. I'm going to hang out in case there are any questions or anything coming up too.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right. Well, I tell you what, that's awesome. Hey, guys in the chat box there, Here's an officer here. I just so happen to know him, right? And there are many others, just like a Jacob Baird out there, that really, really want to make a difference. So in fact, I see one on here right now, Dexter Kilgore. Jacob, he's in the chat. Dexter Kilgore, Minister Dexter Kilgore is an officer as well as one of your buddies there. Dexter, how you doing, man? Dexter is also, he's the black Jacob Baird over there. Yeah, it's good to see you. And so the whole goal is we want to, I'll be honest with you. Before I met a Jacob Baird, a Sergeant Jacob Baird, I had that stereotype in my mind. As an African American, I was a little bit concerned about somebody pulling me over. And I'm not so sure. I'm not still a little bit concerned that something gonna happen to me. But I got a little badge, now that I can show them. Not everybody have this decal that you can show them, and they know I'm friends with Jacob Baird. They know I'm good friends. No, Jacob said no. No, they treat me just like everybody else. I just make sure I'm not doing anything that requires for me to go to jail. All right, so thank you, Jacob Baird. Right before we bring up our next guest, we're going to have, which is Pastor Barbour. We're going to have him just next coming up. I want to remind you guys about some of the things that we are doing in the community. We are a one-stop shop for reentry. Really, we are. And I want to just remind the audience that we're not just local, we're nationally, we're bringing everybody together. The goal is to have a chapter throughout the country, a Tackle the Shackles chapter throughout the entire country. And there's Kilgore. Thank you for putting him up. There's Kilgore, yeah. And so we want to make sure that we want to duplicate these services throughout the country, as we have supporting teams and people like Buddy Curry that are alumni that can support a Tackle the Shackles in your area. If you know any NFL players, anybody, former NFL players that will take note in this kind of thing that we're doing, please send them to our website. Don, put the website, tackletheshackles.org. Please send them to the website. And there's they can complete the contact information there and get in touch with myself, and we can see if we can bring them online with helping returning citizens. And one of the ways that we do that through life coaches. We certify life coaches actually literally all over the country right now. And there's a little intro there, man. Don, would you humor me for just a minute with this little intro? Just humor me just a little bit here, y'all. Yeah. All right. We ready to release some purposes. I am hungry. I am so hungry to release purposes. I'm so hungry to release and empower people to get to the next level. That's what we do, right, buddy? As life coaches, we empower people. And so with that being said, you can go to our website. If you're looking to build your community through life coaches, you're looking to build your community with reentry and set up reentry hubs wherever you are. We do it through our life coaches. We certify these life coaches. They take the best practices. So we'll put that leerobbins.com website there to let you know more about certifying life coaches. Amen. Buddy is one of our life coaches, and Buddy is one of the best. I just, Buddy he's coaching. He's tapping into this area of reentry more. And we have some things that we have learned from each other and about coaching the reentry population. And buddy, there are some challenges that we had, right? When we first started off with coaching the returning citizens. And what are some of those challenges that you faced in coaching that population?
Well, it takes time. It takes time to change mindsets, and we need to walk with people. And it's a two-way street. You as a coach, you offer yourself and your service and your help, and you really want to help and be there for that person. But on the other hand, there needs to be a commitment to walking with somebody that really cares about you. And so what I think we've seen is that we revert back to our old self. We were to the things this got us in there. We revert back to it, and it's just heartbreaking. You'll see progress, and then somebody will make a wrong decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I felt kind of bad. I felt kind of like responsible. Could I have done something else?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I've learned is it's both. You've got to have that commitment, and also as a coach, you've got to be patient, and you got to try to meet that person where they are.
That's right.
And help them and be their encourager that they can't do it.
Absolutely. I love the coach approach to corrective thinking so much because it helps to build muscles in the life of a person in their mental capacity, right? It helps to build the muscle of learning how to make better decisions because you're not giving them all the answers. You are asking good questions. You're being a good listener. You're guiding the process, and so it helps them to sort of construct their lives the way they want to construct their lives. And thank God for all the many life coaches that are out there like yourself that are actually touching lives of people and helping people, returning citizens in particular, to make better choices and teaching them how to do that. Rather just giving them the fish, we're teaching them how to fish, how to make better choices through the coach approach. And so I encourage you guys, if you're looking to jump in and trying to figure out how you can help your reentry population better and be more effective with that, and just giving them a fish or giving them a resource, that still didn't correct the situation. That didn't correct the situation just because you gave them a ride, just because you gave them housing. And we do all that, transportation. We finding out that we have to work with the individual themselves to make better choices. And with that being said, we're going to have someone who's made some bad choices. And tonight is about disgrace to grace. And we're going to have Pastor Barbour to come up right now. Pastor Barbour, why don't you come up? How you doing, sir?
All right. Good evening, everybody. Buddy, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, Pastor Robbins, good evening. It's good to be here tonight. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you. Good to have you. You made some disgraceful choices in your life that led to grace. And we had to start with the bad news, but let's start there. Let's start there with the bad news.
And we ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time on the bad news.
That's not where we need to be. That's not.
Let me say this before I, forget. I really do. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your friendship. I want to thank Dr. Ron Garrett for connecting us and the work that he's doing up here in Prince George's County, Maryland. But I want to thank you, and I want to thank him. And also, I wanted to say to Officer Jacob, I appreciate the insight with which he shared. And as he was talking, he has a very young family. Like, I think he's kind of new at marriage. So just wanted to know that I wish him the best and blessings to him and his family. Okay. Amen. All right. So my focus in what little time I had to talk is truly around two things. One, grace. And the second thing is distort. We're doing kingdom work in the reentry space, right? Mm-hmm. Kingdom work. It took me about 3 years to figure that out. Not figure it out, but to hear God clearly. because reentry is big, it's broad. It's a whole lot, and there's no end to it. It really isn't. But I have come to understand that the Men in the Gap, the Breakthrough Reentry Roundtable, we're doing kingdom work.
Absolutely.
And what I mean by that, there is a harvest. There is a need for spiritual edification in this space. We had a connection with some men in Schuylkill Prison. Some have since come home and are part of our Monday night network. But we was reaching out to these brothers who was a part of a Bible study.
Yeah.
So my point is, you got men of God throughout the prison system, men and women of God throughout the prison system who are loving and serving God behind those walls.
Yes.
But when that time comes for them to come home, I want them to have a platform. I want them to have a fellowship. I want them to have a place where they can be embraced while they are experiencing their transition.
Yes.
And that's what we're about. But that don't stop me from working with others and supporting others within reentry. But I have come to conclude that's my main goal. Our main goal is we understand that only Jesus Christ can truly transform and change somebody. Rehabilitation don't mean nothing without regeneration.
That's right.
You can be a rehabilitated sinner, but it does not carry any weight when it comes time to leave here.
Okay, let me get my B1 organ right there and just go ahead and let you preach right now, because you breaking it down. You breaking it down, Pastor.
Go ahead. But this is what I want to say, right? I've been away from that lifestyle for 45 years. About 45 years. I spent most of my
45, Pastor. Wait a minute.
Okay. Well, I'll take that. But I know I got more time behind me.
Come on.
Than I do in front of me in this life. I'm just trying to leave a legacy now. But here's my point though. I did like from 12 to 17. I spent about 5 years of that in DC's juvenile system, right? And I was on my way to being a career criminal. And I got to tell the charges, but one of the charges were the first, I did 2 years for what was called beyond control. I loved the streets. I loved the streets. My life was in the street. My family was my peers in the streets, right? And what happened is not going to school. They took me from my mother, made me go to my father. I got to my father and I ran back to the streets. They took me from my father and they locked me in juvenile detention center. Then they finally sent me to a shelter house. That's where you go, you live, you go to school from there. And if you behave, you can go home on the weekend. I was there one night. After 6 months in detention center, I was there one night and I had to go back to the streets. Fast forward, right? The last time I was in, I did 2 years and I made a little sign in print shop. And it says, finally got myself together. That was a song back in the 70s. Now I know just who I am. All right? I got released to the street. I needed 4 things. I didn't have an education because I was a 7th grade dropout. I didn't have a job because I didn't have no skills, right? I did not have purpose because I didn't know a thing about nothing. And then last, I was not regenerated. Can I say that? So the streets called again. I went back to doing what I do with much divine intervention. In 1977, I was trying to be a producer, right? I was giving shows. I was doing production. And my vision was to have my own supper club. That didn't work. It didn't work. So that's 77. I lost a lot of money what I had in 1978. I found myself looking for a job as an enforcer for a pimp, right? And I went from that to that. So my point is there was no regeneration.
Yeah.
Okay. But I met with the pimp, didn't work out. Did not work out. I got married later that year, and little did I know 1 month later, I'll be standing at the altar asking Jesus Christ into my life. Right. So I wanted to bring you to that point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where reentry. Somebody said yesterday, don't look at people and judge them, but when you look at people, you ought to say, I thank God, right? That's not me. That could be me.
Yeah.
But that's not me. And
yeah.
I know
that person is not you, but you are you.
Yeah, but I could have been in their shoes. That's my point.
I could have been in their shoes, but there are some things that we have all done.
Yes.
To come short of the glory of God. And so we stand in the seat of judgment when we see somebody else, because we make the judgment that our lives are a little bit better than theirs because we didn't do what they did.
Should not do that.
Right? Right?
Yeah,
and so we're the judge and the jury on that, right?
Should
because we
do.
didn't. Who said? See, because if we really peel back, can we just be honest right now? If we just peel back just a little of our lives, whether we've been to prison or we live in an emotional or a prison of greed or a prison of, where we are never been to the bars, but we have bars all around us. And the problem is we don't have a release date.
Right.
Sometimes that could be worse.
Yes.
You can be in a prison. I feel like I'm preaching to somebody. You can be in a prison, an invisible prison, but you don't even have a release date yet. And you don't even know what that release date is. So you doing life behind invisible bars, not knowing when you're going to ever get out. But we judge people who go behind physical bars where 95% of them will get out and they have a release date.
That's good. Yeah. So, but I go back to that, and that is a fact. I try not to do that, but from the standpoint of being able to relate to somebody, we made bad choices, made bad decisions. Some people was abused, molested, their childhood, right? And then they go to jail or they get arrested, and that only complicates it, right? So it's many challenges with it, but this is why I come back to say, I know the best thing that has happened to me was giving my life to Christ, right? And I realize everybody don't share those same convictions, but I am convinced. Yeah, I am convinced that every knee will bow and every tongue will confess. Now, you can argue with me on that, right? But I am convinced, and the scripture says, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creation. Now, so
I would say that you are convinced because your life has been changed.
Yes.
Through Christ. Yes. And nobody can tell you nothing different than that, because the living proof is inside your own life.
Yes. And his ability to keep you. Now that's just half of the story. He allowed me to found a church, right? I mean, to organize a church. I didn't go and pay somebody. He gave me the wisdom to do that. And he blessed me to pastor that church for 28 years.
Wow.
And then gave me the favor to purchase a strip mall for $1,300,000 back in 2007. Now that may not be a lot to some people, but I was a knucklehead from the street, just only having been redeemed, and only God could give that kind of favor, right? Yes. So when I look at his hand along the way, I'm further convinced. And then, like I say, it ain't so much giving your life to Christ. It's seeing him transform your life and sustain your life over a period of time. Okay. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. And I know I got a little bit more, but you gave me some room here. Right? But this is what I want to say. No, let me say this. I had a birthday party, right? And my goal was to invite everybody from my past. Whether we were in juvenile institutions or just from street life. And they came. They came to this little thing, and I shared my testimony, why I left the streets and so on and so on. But as I looked around the room, I counted the numbers served by this group of men that I know. 500 years. That's why I'm in the reentry.
Come on.
You know, that's why I have a passion for this.
Yeah.
Because it's still a part of my life. I love these guys. Remember, I said I love the streets. That was my family. But some of them went away for 30 years, 35 years.
So look what God is doing, buddy. You have just
yeah,
you know, okay.
Yeah, Pastor, you mentioned a couple things. It's more than what I heard you say is more than just salvation. It's actually the transformation part. Also, you talked about the tables that you share and how important that was. So, what is the process when you guys are giving their hearts to Jesus, and then you got to work out your salvation with fear and trembling, right? You got to work it out. So, is the tables part of that? How big a part of that is it?
That's a major part of it, because men respect men, and especially when you can relate to one another, right? And there's a sense of accountability there. There's encouragement there, because when I look at this brother who has served 44 years, and some of that time he served Christ in there faithfully, now he's out here and he's doing what he had to do to be a good citizen, you know, and to live for Christ. That encourages me.
Yeah.
You know, these guys have challenges. They get doors shut in their face because you're a felon, you know, or ex-felon. You know, so they have challenges. And to see those guys holding steady and doing what they have to do, and then our round table gives them a place to have a voice. You know, it gives them a place to ask questions, to get counsel. And then we try to do things that will help us give back. And that's a major part. That's a major part. When you can lose that selfishness and start being concerned about somebody else and how that would further.
I see that Pastor Barbour as the repairers of the breach.
That's good. All
right. You know, if you tow up the streets, you need to go back there and fix up the streets. Right?
Yeah.
Because that is part of your redemption. Part of your redemption is, Christ has redeemed you to do something. He has anointed you to do something. And through your crushing, through the crushing of your life, whether it's been spent 40 years in prison, or you had to deal with some illness, some sickness, or whatever you had to endure, that part of that is, once God heals you, once God makes you whole, part of the redemption is to go back and clean up what you messed up.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what you're doing, right? That's what you're doing. You've come out of a bad place and you've come and made something good out of it. And now you got other men just like you in a round table called Men in the Gap, where y'all sit down and chop it up like we're doing it right now.
That's right. Yeah.
And say, hey, listen, you can make it. And you encouraging one another to make it. And I know personally, Pastor Barbour is is a person that is a great giver. He's a great giver. Pastor Barbour makes so many sacrifices. He needs to rest sometime. We know that. He needs to rest. And look
Hey,
who's
no,
talking.
my wife is on here listening. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. Look who's talking though. I can't talk to you. But you know, we got to put the mask on ourselves and keep ourselves healthy, but we'll give ourselves away, right? Until the end.
Well, can I say this?
You're a giver.
Well, can I say this? I know we're running out of time, but
yeah,
you all pray for me, pray for us, right? Because my main objective now is, one, to see reentry navigators throughout the county of Prince George's, and a reentry navigator, somebody that will come alongside of a person that's coming home and stick with them through their transition. And that's what you came up to do. And for those who are listening, you will be back with us on September the 10th to do some more training. If anybody interested in that training, they can get in touch with you or myself. But not only can you be a reentry navigator, you can be a life coach, and that covers it over to any part of life. So I want to say that, but I also want to say a lot of great things are happening up here.
Absolutely.
We have just created 2 offices under the council, the county exec, for a reentry director or reentry affairs. We got 2 new offices, and that's a plus. Calvin Hawkins, our chairman of the council, a returning citizen himself, has done so much to bring this to the forefront. So a lot of good things are happening. The Denny House has opened up 3 transitional houses. You got Kevin Williams, the Damascus House. A lot of good things are happening. But I understand within all of that, I'm trying to get individuals redeemed, regenerated, and edified. And somebody put it in the text, and I want them to know I saw that, talking about transformation by the renewing of the mind. They're absolutely right.
Yes, that's one of our pastors out there, Pastor Glenn Rush.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, we are coming to the end here, man. Every time, buddy, it just seems like we don't have enough time, and I know we have to close this thing out here. We always have awesome guests that come on and share their lives. It's just not enough time to do it. Maybe I'll shut up a little bit more and give you guys a little bit more time to talk.
That's good. Just give me a second to make an announcement before we close out. Can you do that?
Okay.
So Pastor, I would say that your pain has become your passion.
Yes.
That's Robin's quote, right? And now you're compelled. So Lee said you need to rest some, and no, it's your mission. It's what God ordained you to do, and you got to do it. You got it.
Yeah.
You can't shut up. You got to go. And the other thing with those round tables, I'm intrigued, and I'm so encouraged, because you're right. These men and these people need somebody to walk with them. And a round table. How many days a week, or do you do it one day a week? How often do you do the round
every Monday? We got on Monday night is the spiritual. That's really my path. But on Tuesdays, it's not about faith. Anybody can come on there. So that's Monday. That's Tuesday, and then it was another one on Thursday night, which is a nice program too. But ours is every Monday.
Okay.
And once a month we try to get out in person for some reason or another.
Yeah, we need to know how to get to that round table. I know is it aired at the same time that we are right here on
it's 7 to 8:30. Yeah.
Oh man.
But that's all right. We'll figure that out. Come on.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe on a Thursday. Maybe we can get there. I don't know. Y'all doing it virtually there as well, right?
Yeah, but I got the Zoom link. We just shoot the link. I mean, it ain't complicated.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to do that, and we're going to make sure we come and support what you're doing. We love everybody there. We've been there. That's my second home. As you know, I got a lot of family members there in terms of they're not even biological, but I call them family.
That's good.
Because a lot of them, I don't know, we probably got a good number of certified life coaches there that are part of Life Empowerment Enterprises. And thank you so much. I want you to get that advertised with that. You wanted to share something else? Okay.
Yeah. Also, any alumni in the DC, Virginia, Maryland, DC, we will be having a fellowship dinner on September the 10th at Levi's Restaurant. Pastor Lee will be there, and he will be sharing more. What we going to do with these certifications we got? All right.
Come on.
Yeah. So we would be doing that. And I want to say to my wife, I love her. We've been married 44 years.
Hey,
and that right there is a great testimony of the Lord in my life and her life. But also, if Pastor Ken Thomas is on here and any of the other Breakthrough brothers are on here, we want to congratulate Pastor Ken Thomas. He was selected as pastor of he was elected pastor of a particular, I can't even remember the name of the church now. But congratulations, Pastor Thomas.
Congratulations. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to get with you guys next month, and especially those alumni. Hey, y'all show up. We're gonna have a lot of good time. I have some goods in the bag that I want to bless you with, and we're gonna do something with those. If you haven't, and most of you guys are doing something with your life coach certification, but we want to bring some value-added blessings to you by coming together. Number one, thanks to Pastor Barbour, he's bringing everybody together there. We're going to build this thing up. So annually, all of our life coaches will be coming together throughout the country eventually. And this is the start. We're lighting the match there. So y'all are creating history.
And buddy, you coming? Let's talk about that. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it big. When we do the annual, we're gonna have players, celebrities. We're gonna have everybody showing up. Pookie and them, Little John and Juju, everybody coming on the same platform, and we're gonna have a good time in the Lord. So thank you so much, Pastor Barbour. Appreciate you. We appreciate Sergeant Baird for coming on and being a part of us. He's still in the back room there. Why don't you come back up? Bring Pastor with you, if you just real quick, if you can come up. Yay, thank you so much for coming, man. We appreciate both of y'all. Yes, thank you so much. And please feel free to come back on again and educate us. Thank you, Pastor Baird. Thank you, Pastor Barbour. Appreciate y'all coming.
Thank you all. And remember to keep me in prayer with the entry navigators, all right?
We'll do it. We'll do it. Absolutely. And we want the rest of you guys that are still here to check this video out, and just see some of the things that we're doing and yet to do. And we would love for you to help us to do it. We do this together. Many hands make lighter work. We cannot do it without you. God bless you guys. All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Pastor. Again, you're not on the air right now. We have.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to figure out how to get out. I see it now.
Good job.
And we ended the. Well, I don't think we ended the broadcast yet, no.